This is CBT News special coverage of the 2023 NADA show.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick on location at the 2023 NADA convention in Dallas, Texas. Mark Queen, who's the founder of Skaivision, is with us along with Bill Wittenmyer, who's the strategy expert for Skaivision. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the stage.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank
awesome
you.
to be
How
here.
is the show going so far?
It's fantastic.
Tremendous.
I think, between the actual traffic,
Right.
But really even in the booths, it's been amazing. The number of dealers, and I don't think it's just because last year was a little bit slower and then we didn't have any.
Yeah.
I think this is really back to more normal of the veterans that have been here. And I know you've seen a ton of people in the booth.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's great.
Yes.
That's great. And the dealers that I'm talking to are saying, this is not going to be like 2022 or 2021. We really got to tighten things up, right? And that's kind of this new product that you guys have. That's exactly what it does. It tightens things up. I mean, talk to us about it. For the dealers that are not as familiar with it, based on the last interview that you did with us, which we got a lot of great reviews and a lot of people said, we want to know more. So for those people out there, tell us what Skaivision's all about.
It is verifying the basics. Most dealerships have big investments in camera systems. Just time is what we're hearing here and before the show. We just don't have the time to go through and take out. Let's face it, 90% of what the camera sees is pretty useless.
Yeah.
But the 10% it does see is really the smoke detector for your processes that you need, in terms of what really happens and does not.
Right.
So no one has the time to go through and analyze that data and wants us to provide that analysis layer for them and let them know when things are going really right and really wrong on certain things. So we've seen just a ton of the dealers that we've talked to here.
Smoke detector. That's
I
great.
know,
I'm definitely going to steal that.
I'm going to steal that one.
Hey, I
myself.
stole it.
I think the really interesting part that surprised both Mark and I tremendously has been the amount of interest in AI, in actual artificial intelligence, really actionable, as Mark was mentioning with the smoke detector. I mean, sending those actionable alerts and being that eye in the sky, so to speak. And to your point, look, 2023, all the dealers, the super progressive ones, know that this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge.
That's right.
And we're going to have to tighten up not only where we're spending our money, but what's going on in the dealership and our processes.
So for the dealers that say, wait a minute, I've got the camera systems, I'm all dialed in, what is your AI going to do for me in this case?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things. Every dealer has a couple of different things. The big progressive groups are really looking for those actionable items that are going to center around monetary. First, we had also mentioned that there's a lot of times that we've kind of punished people, but now we have an opportunity to promote people. So it's really about promoting those positive activities, whether it's greeting the customer quicker, whether it's getting them into F&I quicker, whether it's did they do a multi-point inspection. I mean, you had a couple of dealers come up with some really great ideas.
We're hearing good ideas here. Dealers, we've been really surprised at how much they had already heard about some of this that were coming, and we're really behind the idea that just like I don't remember not having a phone that didn't do email and text and not having a smartphone. 5 years from now, you won't remember not having a smart camera that let you know what was happening without you having to look at
So when you
every
hear about
detail.
dealers are saying, well, no, I keep an eye on, I've got monitors at my desk and I keep my eye on the service drive and the showroom, but they don't. They just have the monitors
It's
there.
sporadic.
Right, exactly.
You're not
it's hit or miss. You
is.
don't know what it is. But your technology actually identifies.
Yeah,
It says, this is an issue right here, right?
And we're showing them, a lot of dealers had said, hey, have the system running live. Great idea that we got from the dealers to show. So we've got cameras in the booth, so when you walk in, it knows, is this a Sky employee that's supposed to be greeting you, or is it a dealer? And it will show the analytics on, hey, someone's been greeted or not. They've been in here too long, delay. So I think the dealers seeing it work live with them in the booth has led to a lot of the ideas that we're getting. And we were fortunate enough to get from Sonic Automotive, some groups let us show some of the actual alerts in their stores. So they're actually seeing customers in the waiting room that have been there too long. They're actually seeing it work in the dealerships and saying, hey, I could apply that to our operation 100% today.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for this year, the second presentation of the show for Sky and being at the show. The first year it was really a lot of prototype and, hey, this is the vision, this is where Mark's going with this, these are the things that, have been come up from our dealers. And then this year it's awesome. As a second year, you're talking about live actionable camera in. You don't even have to demo it. They can walk in and see it right on. And I think the last thing is, you were talking about the monitors. Everybody has those smartphones. push it right to the phone. You know, they don't even have to sit in front of the desk.
That's nice.
Really good managers and really good leaders are going to lead by walkabout, right? They're managing by walkabout, by being out in the store and around. Yeah. And now they have the opportunity to get that information directly, instantaneously, real time with notification and a copy of the video right there and then.
And then you
on-site or off-site.
You mentioned you're working with Sonic Stores, which is a huge company, but you don't have to be a huge company in order to have this work for you. If I'm a dealer and I've got 1 or 2 or 3 locations, it's probably even more important for me that I'm in tune with what's happening, right? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, every dealership, really, the data to know who's doing a great job, who your next leaders are, what's the consistency,
right?
And that's what it's hard to put a number to, unless objective data. And that's I think a couple other things that the dealers are letting us know is that the vendors, we've had other vendors here at the show approach us and say, hey, we have like a training companies. Hey, this is hard for us to know when we leave. When we're there and things are going great, they're doing it. Then we leave and it starts doing it. 3 months later, they need us back in. What if we could reinforce that on a daily basis without us being there and have other eyes there that are ours at the store to help the dealer principals?
That's a great application.
So that and other technology vendors that have said, hey, if we could get some of this data and could you use this in what you're doing? And that's what the show's been tremendous as far as
I think that's what one of the really, really neat things about this product is that it's got such potential for continued spiral growth. And it's things that we don't even think of, right? It's, again, back to our clients and our dealers that come in and have
you guys
these
are
ideas.
nimble enough to make those changes.
And the dealers are much progressive today than they were 20 years ago in our old life and trying to introduce CRM into things. Now, everybody's very progressive and very technologically oriented, so they come up with these ideas like the training. Hey, how can we now reinforce this where we have, something that's not judgmental, doesn't sit there, it's unbiased, and it gives us real information in real time.
Talk to us about everybody's concerned about privacy issues. So talk to us about that. Is that?
Yeah, that's one thing that, again, hasn't really come up because the way the silhouette takes and the fact that we're not attaching personal information to it, wipes it right out.
The use case is there's not one trigger in the system unless it meets 3 criteria. The customer believes it's a challenge that needs addressed. The employee at the dealership does, and the dealer principal. If it doesn't align with all 3, those are the problems that we're solving. So we're not looking at 6,000 things that don't matter in terms of when someone gets to work or leaves, how much they're on their phone, how many times they use a restroom. None of that matters, but in terms of things that affect their paycheck and their CSI scores, whether their customers greeted or not, the employees are the ones that want the alerts on these things. So that helps to a large degree. Plus, like Bill said, we don't need to know it was you or Bill or who it was that took 6 hours to buy the vehicle. We just need to know it happened, and we don't need to. We don't need that personal data. Unlike a lot of other retail scenarios where they do need sociographic information on you as an individual, that's not one of our needs.
Bill, this is the way of the future, right? I mean, you guys are early on this, and it's a phenomenal platform, but this is going to be something that down the road, if we're having this discussion 10 years from now, you're probably going to say, yeah, we have every deal in the country. I mean, it's almost a situation where we have to do this, right?
Yeah, and again, back to the last comment, it has a spider effect of continuing to go in so many different directions, which I think makes it not only really neat, innovative, but I think it solves even more problems that him and I haven't even thought of yet. I think we'll continue to evolve that through, especially at the pace that it's already going. I mean, that's another big surprise is how fast we're looking at the innovation and how fast the growth is just right out of the gate.
For dealers that are listening to us, how long to onboard a store?
Realistically, out of here, 60 days.
Yeah. Okay, do it right.
We really want to know what they've got in place at the dealership, what the situation is, want to do the data look back. So there's not any integrations or anything we need to do, but realistically, 30 to 60 days.
And if they don't have the cameras in place, which I'm sure they do, but if they didn't, that's an area you can help them with
absolutely.
as well?
We have a great partner as well in terms of off-site monitored security and with camera networks, and it's very inexpensive to upgrade. We've run into several groups that couldn't believe, they said, we just upgraded our camera networks because our employees wanted that and our managers did for more coverage. But we're kind of like, what do we do with that now? Can we plug? Let's plug this in and actually provide some return on that big investment that we made.
This is something that I often bring up, and that is that if a dealer's out there and says, listen, I got 8 stores, okay? I'll give you guys 2 stores. Let's see what you're made of.
Yeah.
If it works there, we'll pilot it there. Then I'll give you the other 6 stores. Is that something you guys do?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
We've always felt
Okay.
that this is not a trust me business. This is a try me business.
Right.
You know, and the other philosophy back to the cameras and installation is like, look, we want to give people options, not obligations.
Yeah.
So you know, if they've got cameras in place, great. We're plug and play.
Sure.
If they don't or they need upgrades, we've got that option available too. So it's about giving them those choices. So yeah, I think it's kind of back to the DNA that Mark and I have had, you know, for the better part of 2 decades.
Of course. Yeah. Options, not obligations.
Correct.
That's another one I'm stealing.
There you go.
That's fantastic. For dealers that are out there that want to, you know, take advantage of this new technology, give these guys a call. We're going to show all the information on the screen here, but these are the kinds of things that's going to allow you to make the most from your dealership. You got to know what's going on in your store. And so many dealers and GMs, I know I was one. You don't know that granular information that you need to know. And these guys have put together that kind of technology for your store. And if you got the cameras, it sounds like it's almost a flip of the switch. I know I made that sound too easy. But Mark Queen, founder of Skaivision, and Bill Wittenmyer, friend of the show for, 10 years.
Yeah.
So both of you have been. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jim.
Glad to see you here.
Thanks for watching our special coverage of the 2023 NADA show. Join the #1 most watched newscast in the automotive industry. CBT News, 10 years strong. Subscribe today.